Hello everyone, this is Dr. Siddhalingamurthy SM, Assistant Professor in Botany, ADB First Grade College, Harpanalli. Today I am going to teach you about the third step in the aerobic respiration, that is electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. Dear students, in the previous class we have discussed about first two steps, that is glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Now we shall discuss about the third step, electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. As you all know that aerobic respiration is nothing but a breakdown of food material in the cell releasing energy. For example, glucose undergo breakdown with the release of carbon dioxide, water and energy. Some amount of energy is lost in the form of heat and some of the energy is stored in the form of ATP molecules, and these ATP molecules are used for various activities by the organism. So a molecule of glucose undergo complete breakdown only in case of aerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, glucose undergo partial oxidation, so less amount of energy released there. In aerobic respiration, in the first step, that is in the glycolysis, a molecule of glucose undergo breakdown and results in the formation of two molecules of pyruvic acids. This process occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell and it is common for both aerobic and anaerobic respirations. These two molecules of pyruvic acids undergo complete breakdown in the second step, that is in the Krebs cycle. This Krebs cycle occurs in the mitochondrial matrix where the pyruvic acids undergo complete oxidation, releasing the formation of energy-rich coenzymes, that is NADH plus H plus and FADH2. There will be a formation of GTP also, which is equivalent to ATP, and here carbon dioxide is also released. In fact, oxygen is used in the third step, that is in the ETS. These energy-rich coenzymes NADH plus H plus and FADH2 enter into the next step where they undergo oxidation and results in the formation of ATP. Krebs cycle occurs in the mitochondrial matrix, but this ETS occurs on the inner membrane of the mitochondria, what we call the elementary particles or oxysomes, where we find the enzyme ATP synthase which help in the formation of ATP. So the synthesis of ATP by the oxidation of NADH plus H plus and FADH2 is known as oxidative phosphorylation, so which involves several compounds, electron carriers and many other substances. So let us see how exactly these two energy-rich coenzymes undergo oxidation and ATP are formed, and how the electron carriers and other compounds are involved in the electron transport system. You can observe here. Let us see how the electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation occurs. As I said already, these NADH plus H plus and FADH2, which are formed in the Krebs cycle, undergo oxidation in the electron transport system. The very important thing is there is a requirement of molecular oxygen, which is a final acceptor of electrons. So this process occurs on the inner membrane of the mitochondria, as I said already. During the transfer of electrons, there will be a release of some amount of energy at each and every step. If the released energy is more, that is if it is more than 12 kilocalories, then that amount of energy is used in the synthesis of ATP molecule. That is, a molecule of phosphate is added to ADP so that adenosine triphosphate is formed. This is a very important thing. You can observe here all these things, the electron carriers and certain compounds are present on the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Observe here, NADH plus H plus, that is formed in the Krebs cycle, when it enters into the electron transport system, it undergo oxidation. That is, electrons and protons comes out from the NADH plus H plus, so it will become NAD plus after oxidation. The released hydrogens and electrons are accepted by a compound called as FMN, flavin mononucleotide. And this FMN, after taking up electron and protons, will become FMNH2. So during the transfer of electron from NADH plus H plus to FMN, amount of energy released is sufficient to form a molecule of ATP. So ADP plus inorganic phosphate will form ATP. Now this FMNH2 undergo oxidation, releasing hydrogen and electrons. So these hydrogens and electrons now accepted by coenzyme Q. So it is get reduced to COQH2. In this step, in the second step, the amount of electron released, energy released is not sufficient to form the ATP. So therefore, here ATP is not formed. When this coenzyme Q, reduced form of coenzyme Q, undergo oxidation, as usual, protons and electrons are released, and these electrons are accepted by cytochrome B. Of course, 2 molecules of cytochrome B. From this step onwards, only the electrons will move. The protons are not accepted by the cytochromes. So, the cytochrome, after taking the electrons, get reduced. That means Fe3 plus will become Fe2 plus. When this cytochrome undergo oxidation, releasing the electron, it will again become Fe3 plus, and that released electrons is accepted by the another cytochrome, what we call the cytochrome C. So now the cytochrome C is reduced. During this step also, that is when electrons move from cytochrome B to cytochrome C, amount of energy released is more. So here also there will be formation of an ATP molecule. Now the electron will move from cytochrome C to cytochrome A. Here also the energy released is less, not sufficient to form the ATP. When this cytochrome A undergo oxidation, releases the electron, and these electrons are accepted by cytochrome A3. During this transfer also, the amount of energy released is more, so here also a molecule of ATP is formed. When this cytochrome A3 undergo oxidation, so it undergo oxidation will become Fe3 plus, and now the electrons released after the oxidation of cytochrome A3 are accepted by the molecular oxygen. That is the very important. So therefore I said that oxygen is very important, and it is the final acceptor of electrons. So this last step of oxidation is also called as terminal oxidation. So after taking the electron, it will become an ionic form. So this ionic form of oxygen pick up the protons or the hydrogens that are produced after the oxidation of coenzyme Q, together form a molecule of water. So to form a molecule of water, there must be involvement of 2 molecules of cytochromes at each and every step. So this is how, when a molecule of NADH plus H plus undergo oxidation, there will be formation of 3 molecules of ATP, and the electrons will move from FMN to coenzyme Q, then to series of cytochromes, and finally the electrons are accepted by oxygen. So therefore oxygen is very important. There must be continuous supply of oxygen so as to form the ATP. So therefore all aerobic organisms depend on oxygen. If little bit 2 or 3 minutes oxygen is not provided, there is no formation of ATP, so that the organism will struggle. A continuous supply of oxygen is therefore required. If oxygen is not available for more than 3 or 5 minutes, chances of death of the organism is possible. So this is how ATP molecules are formed. 3 ATP molecules are formed for every NADH plus H plus is oxidized. In case of FADH2, that is flavin adenine dinucleotide, same thing will happen here, but only difference is that when FADH2 undergo oxidation, the protons and electrons are accepted by coenzyme Q. It will enter into the next step, second step directly. So further process will be same from coenzyme Q H2 until oxygen, it is same. So therefore for every FADH2 oxidized, there will be formation of only 2 ATP molecules. So this is how from FADH2 2 ATP molecules are produced, and from NADH plus H plus 3 ATP molecules are produced. And here are the anaerobic respiration. We have discussed already about the anaerobic respiration. Here oxygen is not involved. It all depends upon the intermediate compound formed. It may be an alcoholic fermentation, lactic acid fermentation. In case of anaerobic respiration, as I said already, glucose undergo partial oxidation, intermediate compounds are formed. Glycolysis is common, but further onwards there will be differences. You can observe here in case of alcoholic fermentation, there will be formation of ethyl alcohol, and here the amount of energy released is also very less. Only 2 ATP will be formed. The remaining amount of energy is present in the ethyl alcohol. So as I said, this is very important. We can expect a 2-mark question also. In the last step, electrons from cytochrome A3 are transferred to molecular oxygen. Oxygen ions are formed. In this step, combine with protons which are released in the third step, leading to the formation of water. So this last step is called as a terminal oxidation. So this is how at the end of aerobic respiration, the glucose molecule is completely oxidized. If we take into consideration of NADH and FADH2 that are formed in the glycolysis as well as in the Krebs cycle, in total there will be formation of 36 ATP molecules. So for every glucose molecules, after complete oxidation or after the respiration, there will be formation of 36 ATP molecules. We have discussed about aerobic and anaerobic respiration. There is necessity to know something about a term called respiratory quotient. It all depends upon the type of substrate used in the respiration. The substance that undergo breakdown releasing energy is called respiratory substrate. It may be an oil, it may be a carbohydrate, or it may be a protein. As far as the definition of respiratory quotient is concerned, it is defined as the ratio of carbon dioxide evolved to the oxygen taken during respiration. That is, RQ is equal to moles of carbon dioxide evolved divided by moles of oxygen consumed. In case of carbohydrates, the RQ value will be 1. In case of organic acids, it is more than 1. In case of fatty acids or fats, the RQ will be less. Let us see why the value of carbohydrate, RQ of carbohydrates is 1. This is in a reaction. You can observe here, moles of carbon dioxide evolved 6, moles of oxygen consumed 6. So therefore, the value of RQ will be 1. So in carbohydrates, the respiratory quotient is 1. In case of organic acids, for example malic acid here, the value of RQ, that is respiratory quotient, is more than 1. For example, in case of malic acid, it is 1.33. Observe here, the volume of carbon dioxide released is 4 and oxygen consumed is 3. So therefore, it is more than 1. So in fatty acids or fats, or lipids, the value of RQ will be less because the fats contain less amount of oxygen, so they require more oxygen to digest. Hence, the value of RQ will be less than 1 in case of fats. So, this is about the respiratory quotient. Thank you.